Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Always On Point podcast with Kristen Ambos. Thank you again so much for being here. I just feel so lucky every time I get to sit in this studio and record these for you. So thank you for tuning in and listening. If you have not, please subscribe so you get the new episode dropped every Wednesday. You will find them on any podcast platform that there is, and you can also find them on my YouTube page, Kristen Ambos. So find me, like, share, comment, and again, always give me your feedback. I want to know what you guys are seeing out there, what you're thinking, what questions you have, and it's all about making this relevant, making it what we need it to be so that you can get all the info you can get as quickly as I can. So we never shoot these too far in advance because we want them to be fresh. We want them to be real. And last week you heard me talk to Lisa Hanson about appraisals and where those are at right now. I have just as many consumers that listen and, home buyers, homeowners, as I do real estate agents. And I love that. So we try to get information that just fully encompasses everything to do with that. And of course, mortgage rates right now are one of the key topics going on and have been going on for a few weeks because in an earlier episode a few weeks ago, you talked, I brought up how the Iran war was really affecting interest rates. That inflationary action, but it was more oil than it was anything that really drove up the rates and really just that volatility, the uncertainty of what's happening. We got almost a 0.5 point increase from where we were at. So if you're in the market and you had a pre-approval done even 3, 4, 5 months ago, I would get it updated. Get it updated. Call your lender, call your loan officer, call us, get a second opinion. Right now, rates are anywhere from a first-time homebuyer program to probably the 6 to low 6s, all the way up to mid to upper 6s. It just depends on what you're doing. Are you cashing out refinancing? Are you buying? A lot of people don't understand that there are certain loan amounts that if you increase, the rate goes up. If you're down in the Community Reinvestment Act, you get interest rate breaks for lower loan amounts because they're trying to really keep the housing market going. So those incentives haven't lifted. So you want to be prepared for that, but have an open discussion. One thing I will tell you right now that I'm seeing in the market is people who are chasing the lowest interest rate they can find. And I can't say enough in the fact that if you chase the lowest interest rate, you will find it. But you're also going to find 3 things. 1, a loan officer who is not communicative because they're probably at a big company and they gave you a really low interest rate and it's just a churn. Now you went to them, you talked to them, now it goes on to somebody else, and you never talk to that loan officer again. That's 1. And in that event, a lot of things happen with a loan that wheels fall off, and certain, people that don't understand and aren't the lead loan officer can't help their team. Now, running into the second issue, which is loans falling apart a couple days or the day before of closing. Not a week before, not even 2 weeks before, the day before, 2 days before. And clients don't understand why. And then they can't contact that a loan officer they initially started with because they're nowhere to be found. Why this is dangerous is because that loan officer has no ties to the area I'm in, or you're in, we're in, anyone's in. So for example, there are a few national lenders that are out there, online lenders, offering some crazy low interest rates. That's great. They don't live here. They don't know Wisconsin market. They don't know the Midwest market. And if they have to call you and tell you that your loan's not closing, they don't show face in our market. They won't pick up a phone call and return it. They have nothing to lose. So they don't care. Their heart is not in it. They're not like myself, who is considered a boots on the ground loan officer, who has to go out there and I have to face the real estate agents I'm working with. I have to face the clients. I have offices that these clients can come to. I have to make sure that they are taken care of. That's first and foremost one of the most important parts and the differences between a really low interest rate and a loan officer will never call you back. And that the other thing that those really low interest rates are coming with that people aren't talking about is really expensive fees. Normal closing costs in the state of Wisconsin right now for any lender are probably somewhere between $3,000 and $3,600. And the reason why I say that is because it depends on the, appraisal is a really big factor. If you need a 2-unit appraisal, they're more expensive than a single family. If you're buying an investment property, if you're buying rurally, like there's a few things that can change that by a couple $100. So that's why I give that grace. I am working with a gentleman right now who the loan officer quoted him a really low interest rate with $12,000 worth of closing costs. That wasn't including his escrow setup. $12,000 he didn't have to come into the closing table with. And they never explained that to him. They didn't understand why. He didn't understand why. And he thought he was going to lose his house because guess what? The appraisal didn't come into value. It came in lower. And as you heard me speak with Lisa last week, that's happening right now. It does not mean that the market is fading away and this is going to be a bust. Please hear me when I say that's not the case. They offered over to get a seller credit back to cover these exorbitant fees. The value of the house did not have that. So the value of the house was the same exact as the list price. So essentially they were trying to bake in his closing costs into the loan. Okay, no problem. If the value is in the house, that's fine. However, what they didn't tell him was that fees would really be $3,500. They were charging him an extra $5,000 in loan fees, underwriting fees, origination fees, doc prep fees. All of this came to $5,000 additional than what they were already charging him as an underwriting fee. That's crazy. So they were taking advantage, just taking a ton of fees, putting them on the house in an origination fee, in additional underwriting and processing fees so that they could make more money on this deal to offset this really low interest rate they were getting. But he didn't have the money. And instead of saying, listen, can we rework it a different way? They just said, oh, sorry, you don't qualify for the mortgage anymore because you don't have the funds to come in with. This poor kid was distraught because he didn't know what to do. Then when he came to me, we reworked the file, found a way to make it work for him and for the seller to do everything, get this deal done, get it done on time. He was a veteran, by the way. Yes, a veteran. He called back to let him know that he was not moving forward with them. Both the loan officer and the original real estate agent called him and belittled him for about 15 minutes. Let me read you this text I have, and I think it'll help you understand because then when these loan officers and these originators get busted for doing very predatory work, then I get texts like this. Client, Kristen, I pretty much just got reamed out by the original real estate agent and loan officer I was working with. They made me feel super uncomfortable and kind of like a piece of shit for essentially switching companies. His words, not mine. Because I'm not going with them, I feel really belittled. I feel like everything that I just did and everything I just listened to, which the call was for 16 minutes, and I don't know what more to do in this situation. Could you give me a call back and help coach me through it? Real life text. No client should ever feel that way, even if they're moving and you don't agree with it. Nod your head. If you want to save it, try to save it. My 2 answers to saving it are 1, why didn't you offer them that to begin with if you could do it? This particular loan officer was really good friends with the CEO. And for those of you who are listening, not watching, I'm quoting, so he could now take away all those fees because the CEO would just let him. Well, if the CEO would let him before, why won't they now? 1, and 2, if you're going to tell them you can't do the deal unless you're charging them predatory fees, the last thing you are entitled to do is call and then berate them and belittle them. And the reason why the real estate agent was calling and belittling the client was because the real estate agent was a preferred lender getting paid a kickback for marketing fees from the loan officer. Really bad scenario, you guys. It's happening everywhere. So please, 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 as a client, do your own diligence. As a real estate agent, I have a lot of real estate agent partners that I work with that refer me business, but I'm telling you right now, I don't personally pay them any referral fees, any biz dev fees, any fees like that at all, so that they feel like they have to send business my way. I want to earn the business because I'm good at what I do. I'm trusting, and I know how to get the job done. That might be very old school, but I consider me old school then because I would rather win it on merit and doing right by the consumer than paying people to then steer business my way and then calling and getting mad at them because they decided to choose something that was more financially beneficial to them. Do you know how absurd that sounds? I hope you do. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I wish I could count on my hands right now how many conversations just like this I've had. I picked up 2 clients this week in that same exact scenario where the loan officer and the real estate agent yelled at the client because they chose something different for themselves. Now, listen, we all have a lot of work on this. I've jokingly but mean, we are all volunteers until we get to the closing table. Real estate agents are, loan officers are, all the like. However, that doesn't give you a pass to treat people poorly because you have time invested and they went with somebody else. Maybe look in the mirror and check yourself on what did you do that they ended up somewhere else. On the side of this, I know a lot of really good loan officers and I've been up against them and I've literally said to the client, you're in really good hands right now. You should stay with that loan officer. Just did it last night. Of course, I want to say, yes, I can do better. Yes, I can beat it. Yes, I can do this or that. But when I know you're with another really great loan officer and they're going to take care of you, that's all I want is for people to be in this industry and do it right and to be right. So I will fight that battle, but I will also be your competitive. I'm a competitor to these people, but I would rather be your competition, having your back, knowing that we're treating each other right. There's enough loans to go around. It's always been that way, and you've heard me say that. With that being said, I'll get off my soapbox when it comes to that, but I just obviously have, it happens so often, and it needs to be addressed. And I just got done saying, I don't know if I'm going to address this in this podcast or not, but here I am addressing it because it is super important. So I don't want you to chase the lower interest rates. Look at the lower fees. But more importantly than ever, communication. Communication matters so, so much. We came off of 6 months where, again, the market's not failing. But winter in the Midwest, there's a lot of people that don't buy because they're either locked into lease agreements or they don't want to move. They've got kids in school, things of that nature. There's a lot of reasons in our market why people don't move in the winter. So springtime inevitably always picks up. We had some houses that didn't go for over asking that were able to, if you heard any of the podcasts before. By now, you can negotiate inspections, you can negotiate appraisals, you can negotiate all those things into your offer. Some of that is already being waived. I got some data this morning for the Outagamie and Brown County markets where there's only 40 or 50 houses on the market. And a lot of those have accepted offers on them already. I'm so surprised in both markets, 30+% have inspection waivers and appraisal waivers already. And we're only starting in April. So that tells me when May comes around, you're probably going to see a lot of that. Now, just because you are a client or a real estate agent and your client is waiving that appraisal doesn't mean I'll be able to waive the appraisal. As a lender, I might still need an appraisal. So as a consumer, understand if you are spending over the purchase price, what that appraisal gap looks like if the appraisal doesn't come in. Because we have people now in escalation clauses, 5, 10 offers on the market. I don't want to deter you. That's not for everything, but we're starting to see signs of it. The sooner you can get in the market, the sooner you can find a home, negotiate something right for yourself, the better off it will be. And because rates are up a little bit higher right now, year over year data shows that pre-approval applications are actually down for one of the first times in the last 2 weeks. And so as rates go up, applications come down. The beginning of the year, we saw about a 0.5 point dip. We saw applications up. Those houses now all have accepted offers on them. So this market's going to be volatile. It's going to be volatile on rates. It's going to be volatile on pricing. It's going to be volatile on inventory. You're going to see a spike. You're going to see some sit. Spike, sit. Communicate. Build a team around you of really solid agents who understand the market you're in, and want to help you. Vet them out. Interview them. Find the one that works right for you. I'm going to say the same thing about loan officers. Don't call and just say, what's your lowest rate today? And the only loan officer I'm going with is the one with the lowest interest rate. Go with the one with a low interest rate, but is also communicating. Listen, I'm not going to ever tell you that I have the lowest interest rate of anyone ever. I've never said that. I never will, because lenders change their rates in every single day. Some go up, some go down. Investors go up, some go down. But what I can tell you is I have a steady eye on my competitors. I have a steady eye on my local banks, and I know that I am solidly competitive in my interest rates. So I'm solidly competitive, and I'm offering all the communication in the world to you. And if we give you a pre-approval, we will do everything in our power to see it through, even if there are hiccups. And that's what's most important. Don't settle on a loan officer for a lowest rate that's not communicating with you, who's going to throw their hands in the air when times get tough and leave you hanging. The lowest interest rate means nothing if you don't have a loan and a home to close on. So that's why make sure it's competitive all day long. I agree, competitive rates are super important. But if you shop for the lowest interest rate, again, you will find it. And unfortunately, you are more than likely going to get burned on it. Not everybody will, but more people will than not. There's so many things that go into getting a loan to the closing table. And before you're frustrated and rolling your eyes at me because you're like, oh my gosh, Kristen, I just closed on a loan and I had to give so much paperwork. Remember, that's why the housing market isn't going to bust. That's why the loans aren't going to bust. That's why loans are performing. That's why the market's going to continue to perform, and we're going to continue to raise. This is an asset to you. You want your home and your loan to be an asset to you, working for you in the right way, which means we need appreciation to go up at a solid level of that 3 to 6% year over year. I still think you're going to see that. We saw it over the winter, might have dropped down a little bit in the actual, maybe 1, 2, 3% versus 3 to 6. But remember, in our market and in the Midwest, now is the time to buy. The spring market into summer's hot, and you're going to see that turn around. So if you are even thinking about getting pre-approved, we would love the opportunity to help you. My team and I are here. We are on standby. The girls are making sure deals are happening as I sit here and record this, and I'm so grateful for them. We are a team effort, and we want to all be here on board, making sure when you start with us, you finish with us in the best possible way. So thank you again for always listening. Point Mortgage, it is my parent company, and I am so grateful to be a part of them. We don't love the word no. We love the word yes. We will make it happen, and we're going to find a way to do that, and we want to prove that to you. So again, thank you so much for following up. Thank you so much for continuing to listen. Subscribe so that you get this episode and every episode after. We're going to be here for a while, and we're excited to. Find us on any social media. We are on all of them, including YouTube. So find us there, and we look forward to seeing you next week.